Hi, welcome back to Gaming for Gamers. So here we are back in London. There's Nor, there's the weather. That's actually exactly how it looks in London today, and we are on one of London's many bridges, and there's the River Thames, there's the Houses of Parliament. Anyway, so today another little topic, which is how gaming has got so convoluted and confusing. And this isn't just from my stand, and I game a lot, and obviously I, in a small way, do a commentary on gaming, but for anybody who's new to gaming, it's a minefield, and let me just kind of touch on why. When PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 first came out, there were only discs, and that's the same with Xbox and any other format of console. They were just discs, so you were limited to what you got. You bought a disc, and it was the disc you got. You put the disc in your PlayStation, your Xbox, whatever it was, and you played the game. And there was probably the one version of the game, and that's what you got. And occasionally there might be, and I can't remember, it's a long time ago, but occasionally maybe a special edition disc, something like that. But other than that, that was it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, but more unfortunately, probably, the event of downloading games and content has opened up a whole new, there's a view down the Thames from London, there's a London Eye, has opened up a whole new can of worms in gaming. And what I mean is, instead of just buying a game now, even if you buy a disc, you can end up buying loads of DLCs and extra stuff from the online stores, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. And if you buy a game online, you've got even more complications, because let's just say this game is Watch Dogs Legion, if you didn't know. And when I bought this, I bought a version of this game. It was a middle range version. I can't remember all the different versions of the game. There's usually, of every game, there's like the normal version, the deluxe version, the super deluxe version, the fantastic amazing version, and the super gold platinum version. There's usually so many versions you get confused. And as I didn't know the game, obviously I probably watched a few reviews and playthroughs to see if I thought I'd like it. I didn't know which version I'd want, because I didn't know whether I'd like it, I didn't know which things were relevant, and I understand gaming, and I had the time to watch a lot of videos about it. If you didn't understand gaming, if you went onto the PlayStation store to buy a game, any game, it doesn't matter what it might be, Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, there were so many versions of that, Watch Dogs Legion, as I just said, there were so many different versions of each game. It started raining, and you can see people have umbrellas, and I'm getting wet, but anyway. There were so many different versions of each game that it's impossible to know which one you'd want, because you don't know whether you like the game, you don't know which ones are needed, which content in each game is worthwhile. For example, the top version of Watch Dogs Legion, which I didn't buy, as I said, it was, even in sales now, it's still a lot of money, and all it really has compared to the next version down is a few more skins and a couple of DLC agents, which you don't really need, and I've played this game tons, you don't really need them. It doesn't really have that much more, but you wouldn't know that. If you just got the top version to the next version, you wouldn't know what you needed and what it's got. And then you've got these things where you buy the base game and you want to download this, it's got extra DLC, this has got extra agents, this has got extra skins, this gives you extra weapons, this gives you more missions, and that's like some of the simple games, Watch Dogs Legion actually. So some of the games are even more confusing. And the fact that there are so many different versions of games now that have so many different parts to them, there's so many things you can add. Even if you buy the very best version of a game, then they add something else in these season passes, not even touched on season passes. And the Watch Dogs Legion has that as well. So there's so many different parts to a game that you can buy. The original base game you buy, which is not necessarily the base game, like I said, the version you buy, whether it's the base game or the super platinum fantastic deluxe version, is a big decision, because there's those two and plus all the ones in between. And then there's all the different DLC skins. Some things I've seen online, they've got ridiculous amounts of little DLCs for different guns and different weapons and different things you can get. And it's crazy. And they all cost money. And no one's got endless money. And like I said, if you are someone who's experienced with gaming and you look into an on PlayStation, so PlayStation Store, but I'm sure it's the same with Xbox. Oh, you're getting wet. Then it's difficult, because I didn't know with Watch Dogs Legion, and I've been playing PlayStation games for many, many years. And if you don't know and you just started gaming, it's an absolute minefield. I was talking to a friend who came round, and we were kind of looking at this for no reason. We were just talking about games, and I was just showing her something, and she was like, well, why's that got 2 games? And I was like, well, that's because that's that version and that's this version. And she was like, well, what's that version got different? And I had to look into it and go into all the different DLCs and all the different things that's included and not included. And sometimes you can't even quite understand what's included and what's not included. This includes that and that and that, but not that. And this includes this and this and this. And some of the things might be much more relevant to actually the game than some are just aesthetics and skins and things like that. And you won't know. And she had no clue. And I can't remember, but I think the game we were looking at had like 5 different versions in the whole store, and that's not counting season passes and skins and DLCs and da-da-da-da-da. So it's very, very complicated, and it's very difficult for people to know what to get. It's very difficult to spend all this money, because again, in the past when you got a disc, and that was the game. Now if you get the base game, you don't get the whole game, because of the availability of downloads, they add new missions, new skins, new guns, new weapons, etc, new agents, and some of that's good. So don't get me wrong, with Watch Dogs Legion I bought one of the extra DLCs that gave me 3 new missions. It gave me a few agents, but I didn't care about that. But it gave me 3 new missions, and I'm glad I did, because I enjoyed the missions. So I'm not saying all that's bad, but there are so many extra things where you buy a base game that you can spend money on, and bearing in mind how much AAA games cost when they come out, and how much DLC of various types there are, some needed, some just aesthetic, some you won't know if you need or not. There is just so many ways to spend money. If you buy a movie, a new movie on a disc or from download Amazon, whatever, that's what it is. You've got that, and you don't then go out and buy a next version, or you don't download the other ending onto that disc because you didn't get the one ending at the beginning, and you don't then download something else that you didn't get with the original version. That's just it. You've got the movie straight out, and on the disc, especially on disc, Blu-ray disc, you get extra bonus features, and you sometimes get interviews with just the crew, you sometimes get deleted scenes, that kind of thing, and you get that all on one disc when you buy it. But if that was a game, they wouldn't include that. That would be extra things you downloaded. And movies, by the nature of a new movie, is cheaper, and they're not necessarily cheap to make, but they're cheaper. Discs are cheaper. Blu-ray disc for a movie is cheaper than a game, an AAA game. Download a movie from PlayStation, a brand new movie, an absolutely brand new, just fresh out the cinema movie is much cheaper than a game. And yet you don't have to download extra stuff. If you get the movie, you've got the movie. If you get the disc, you get the content, you get the bonus features, whatever it might be, different endings, you get that. You don't have to put the disc in and then download a different ending by paying more. And it's that thing which I touched on in the first video, where publishers and people in gaming literally have sat down and thought, how can we make more money from gamers? What can we do? What would be the way to get extra money? How can we think of different ways to make it complicated? And some of the things, which again I touched on in the first video, monetization and those kind of things, some of the things are very complicated, some of the things are very confusing, some of the things you need to actually win or progress in games, but there's just so many different versions of games. And again, it's that thing where it's like, let's think of extra ways to confuse and get money out of people, where again, like I said, in other comparable situations, and like I said, the most comparable is getting a movie with a disc, you get all the content as possible, and you would get all the features, bonus features, deleted scenes, dual endings, whatever it might be. which again, if that was a game, you could be 100% certain all those extra features would be downloadable extras. You wouldn't get it in a game. So why should it be extras in a game where it's not anywhere else? And like I said, I'm not against occasionally having an extra feature. You get a base game, or you get a game that's complete in the game, not with millions of different versions, and then maybe there's some basic obvious extra content. Maybe there's an extra area you open up, or maybe there's an extra mission or something like that, because that's straightforward and you can decide you want to continue in the game. If you like the game originally, you can buy the extra mission or the extra areas, things like that. But it's just too much, and too much skins, too many different things that are all like linked together, agents and skins and things you might need for the game, loot boxes we touched on before. This is so many things. So anyway, that's my latest thought about how gaming is really being monetarised to the extent of really, like I said, game publishers thinking that they can just print money by thinking of any way they can to get more money. And they would like take a game apart and think, okay, well, we'll give you that as a base game, we'll add that and that later, an agent, a mission, a skin, an extra weapon, then we'll add this and that and that and that, which you don't really need, but we'll say you need it anyway. Then we'll add this version, that version, this version, the seasons pass, and that's kind of how they think. They think in terms of how to monetize, not how to make a really good game. Anyway, thanks for watching Gaming for Gamers from rainy London, from a bridge over the River Thames, and Noor, who's not been happy, I'm sure, standing on the bridge. Thanks for watching, and take care.